else you'd like to ask?
No, I think we can.
Questions for Mr. Cueto or the board?
I'll just be brief with my questions. If O'Malley were to,
I would object to referencing O'Malley. I mean, we show respect to everybody.
I didn't mean to disrespect. I'm sorry. If I meant to disrespect, I would have just called him Steve. I meant Mr. O'Malley. Okay. County Administrator, Mr. O'Malley. If he were to donate to your campaign, there would be really no issue with that, correct? As a private citizen.
Right. I don't think that it would be a violation of the county code of ethics for him to donate to my campaign. He chooses not to get involved in this thing. So,
do you think it's part of his either job description or his implied job description, which is the unwritten part, that he's free to fundraise on behalf of a political action committee?
County resources.
Using county resources, obviously not as a private citizen.
well, if you're asking that in a theoretical sense, I would say no. If you're asking in terms of fundraising for the issue before us, he didn't fundraise for them. He helped them apply for a grant.
It's
So,
in the original packet we outlined.
It depends on what you mean by
Helping
fundraising.
helping to apply for a grant on behalf of a political action committee isn't the same thing as fundraising?
He gave them information. The role of ICMA is to provide information with regard to best practices for local government. And he was aware that they have a program that will help to promote the dissemination of information with regard to best practices for local government. He informed the committee, and this is secondhand because I wasn't part of that, he informed the committee of how to apply for that. I don't call that fundraising. I call that application for a grant, no differently than Doug Moorman, as the health department director, applied for grants from the American Red Cross, the Cancer Society, and so on and so on and so on, to get money for the program that he was promoting. Very similar type of thing. There's a difference between applying for a grant and fundraising.
Well, I don't know exactly what you're referring to. I don't know if that was a political action committee or not. I have an email here.
Well, in fact, the La Crosse Area Health Initiative was, I don't know if they were registered with the state, they may very well have been, but La Crosse Area Health Initiative consisted of La Crosse County Health Department, along with the 2 medical facilities and several others, that was their sole reason for being was to promote smoking bans.
Well, if there's something unethical somebody else did, it really doesn't pertain here. Now, Exhibit G at the very bottom, I'm just going to read a paragraph from Mr. O'Malley's email, and you tell me whether or not this is fundraising. I have already emailed ICMA to inquire about the check, since we've not received it yet. I will call my ICMA contact in the morning to be sure there hasn't been a glitch. Though I'm confident that their commitment email is solid, it makes me a little nervous that we don't have the money in hand yet. You don't think that's fundraising?
Let me try this again. There's a difference between fundraising and applying for a grant. This was a grant. It was not fundraising.
Getting grant money is...
A grant is money, right? It's funds, correct?
Mr. Cueto, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one.
I don't really see it. I disagree with that. But anyway, okay.
Lawyer talk.
Could I ask that the chief seats be instructed to not be throwing in comments? I think that's disrespectful.
This happened on both sides, by the way.
Both sides should definitely not be doing that.
Let's just proceed. And make it brief.
Okay. So as I understand it correctly, you said, I think the specific phrase you said was free reign. You gave, when you put the position together for Mr. O'Malley, you gave him free reign. That whatever he felt in his opinion was for the benefit of the county government, then he was free to do so. Is that correct?
Within the confines, obviously, of the law and of the ethics code. I mean, if you thought something was good that would involve breaking the law, we certainly weren't going to allow that. But from the ethical standpoint, as long as he didn't violate the ethics code, that was acceptable. Now, from a political standpoint, if he was involved in something that he ethically could be involved in, but we philosophically disagreed. He obviously risked his position. But with respect to him making the determination, I'm going to focus on this issue. Let's say there was an issue having to do with criminal justice, because we've done a lot of that here. It may be something that's ahead of the curve of the board. It certainly would be within his ethical role to promote those programs to divert people out of our jail, for example. You may not have the full board support, and if you go too far, you risk some sort of sanction or termination of your job, but you didn't violate the ethics code. So when I said free reign, it was within the rules of the law and the ethics code.
Now, in the ethics code, it says that an official or employee shall not use or knowingly permit the use of, and then it lists quite a few things, unless such services or use are available to the general public and are consistent with practices and policies of the county. Would you agree that if an ordinance states a specific conduct, it's part of the practices and policies of the county to follow their own ordinances?
Well, it is, but when he is preparing the budget, for example,
Well,
he has the resources of the finance director.
Sir,
I mean,
it
so-
was just a
Yes or no?
Mr. Bowser can ask you a follow-up question.
I
It's
object.
simple yes or
He's
no.
answering the
I think we're
question.
gonna have to have a little bit of moment here. Everyone's talking at once, and I'm guessing through the recording system that's not gonna come out very well. I don't know if Mr. Doyle had finished his answer.
I did not.
Okay. Can you repeat the question if you'll allow him to finish the answer? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
That's all right.
I was
That's
writing
fine.
something, so go ahead, I need to hear it.
Well, it was designed to be a yes or no question, but would you? I'll paraphrase. County ordinances are something that are practices and policies of the county. The county does follow its own ordinances, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And one of those ordinances, 3.28, political activity, states specifically that employees cannot use county resources or government resources for political purpose.
I think you need to read the rest of that phrase.
What was it, H?
Are you looking at 204?
Well, 204 references consistent with practices and policies of the county. And so the practices and policies of the county would incorporate the other ordinances.
Well, what section are you looking at?
So I'm looking at 3.28.
What's
H. So engaging in political actually I should start with subsection 2 says, in general, the following political activities by employees are prohibited. Engaging in political activity on county-owned property or during work hours in such a manner as to give the impression of an official county endorsement of a particular candidate, proposal, or position unless the county, in fact, has taken such a formal position or the employee reasonably believes the employee's political activity to be consistent with his or her official duties.
And that's why I said you need to read the rest, because that last phrase that says, because he reasonably believes it's consistent with his official duties, that is what he did. You can engage in those types of things if it is consistent with your official duties.
And again, the official duties would be everything that's written in his contract,
And beyond.
plus some unwritten, just in general, broad
Right.
guidelines. So, okay. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Belzer?
Do you all have any questions?
No. Thank you. Are we moving to closing statements?